LEGO DC is unfortunately my favorite theme, and let me tell you, it's been a rough few years. But with the release of the brand new Arkham Asylum, I'm starting to feel a bit of hope and optimism for the theme. I thought it'd be really fun to go back and rank every single year and decide which one was the best overall. And the top half of this list was really fun to go back and see all the amazing sets and minifigures we used to get. But the bottom half is pretty miserable, as pretty much just Batmobile after Batmobile and then another Batmobile. So let's rank every single LEGO DC year and find out which one was the best. Actually, one last thing, I will be going off the European release dates, as I think it spreads the sets out a little bit nicer, and it's also how I grew up collecting them. So, which was the worst year for LEGO DC in my opinion? Now, this might be a little bit controversial, but I'm actually going to go for 2023. In that year, we got four main sets. We got a buildable Keaton Batman, which as far as Brickbuilt minifigures go, is actually quite a good one. Then we also got the Batwing and the Batmobile from the 89 movie. And I actually really like the Batmobile build, as the 89 is probably one of the best live action versions. And I thought the Batwing was also a solid set, but unfortunately they both used the same minifigures. And then finally, the big set of the year was the Batcave Shadow Box, which got a lot of hate, but personally I didn't actually mind it too much. I just thought it was a massive wasted opportunity. It was incredibly expensive, and I just wish it didn't have the shadow box gimmick. If they cut this set in half and shaved off like 1,000 pieces and £100 and just gave us a really cool Batcave build, I think it would have been a lot better. And also for the price of this set, the minifigures were pretty lackluster with not a lot of printing. Overall, not an awful set, but for 4,000 pieces, this should have been the ultimate Batcave and been based on the comics. They could have done the giant T-Rex, the penny, a massive suit rack, and it perhaps could have been the greatest DC set ever made. So definitely not an awful year. Just personally, I'm not a massive Keaton fan. I do enjoy those movies, but having an entire year based on them was a little bit boring to me. But I'm sure if you grew up and loved those films, this would have been an amazing year. Next on the list is 2022, which is an interesting year because if you were in America, this would be by far and away the worst year ever, and probably one of the worst LEGO theme years of all time, as you only would have gotten the Batman vs. Harley Quinn 4 plus set. However, in Europe, we actually got the Batman releases, and I really loved that movie, and I thought these sets were great. It kind of felt like a throwback to some of the older waves. We got a Batcycle chase with Catwoman, a Batmobile with the Penguin, and then a really nice Batcave, which was packed full of some great minifigs. So overall, another decent year. It's just a little bit higher as I prefer the Batman movie over the Keaton movies, and the sets were better prices as well. Although, like I said, if you were in America, this would definitely be the worst year ever. Next up is 2021, which gave us two tumblers. We've got the Playscale version, which is probably my favorite of the Playscale Batmobiles. It's just such an incredible build. Just so exciting to get a Batman Begins set. It was also really cool to get Killian Murphy's Scarecrow. And if the Playscale version wasn't enough, we also got a massive collector's edition one with over 2,000 pieces, which was a remake of the 2014 one. And I thought this one was a big improvement. It's a perfect set and a display piece if you're a big fan of the Nolan movies, and we got two good minifigures in it. And then we did actually get another Batmobile. We got the classic TV series one, or the Adam West one, which was another great build. And you get two great minifigures. I love Cesar Romero's Joker. And then we did also get two Batman cowls. Lastly, we did get a really great minifigure pack, which I think contains the best Batman minifigure ever made. So even though pretty much this year is what everyone jokes about the DC theme just being a Batmobile and the Joker, I thought all three were really well made. So a boring selection, but really great sets. Next, we have a pretty hard year to rank. We have 2017. It was really great to get all the Justice League characters like Superman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and The Flash, but this was kind of the year which killed DC. The Justice League movie completely flopped, but there were still some nice sets here. We got a really nice Atlantis build. We got the Nightcrawler, which I thought was a pretty fun Batman vehicle, and then we got the Flying Fox, which was so over the top that I couldn't help but love it. And this year also gave us the Wonder Woman movie set, which was really incredible. The brick built Ares looks amazing, and this Wonder Woman is probably my favorite Wonder Woman minifigure. And we also got a really great biplane build. And also, most importantly, we actually got the Mighty Micros Killer Moth set, which is definitely the best DC set of all time. So honestly, it's a pretty good year, and it was fun to see all the Justice League members. Next up, we have 2020, which had the massive 89 Batwing. I mean, all the big Bat vehicles looked really good, and it was really fun not to get a Batmobile. And we also got the mobile Bat Base, which I feel like was the last proper playset Batman set we actually got. It was a really fun build. Remind me a lot of the classic agent sets, as you could pop out different vehicles like a bike, a jet ski, as well as a quad bike, and like a weird spaceship. This also had some incredible minifigures. The Rebirth Batman looked great, and the Nightwing looks amazing. One of my favorite DC minifigures of all time. We also got White Man Bat, as well as his first and only appearance of Bronze Tiger, who I think was the last new Batman villain we actually ever got. Then we also got the Joker Trike Chase. Then we also got a 4 plus Batboat Chase, which was decent enough. And then finally we got the Wonder Woman 84 set. And even though I hated the film, this is actually quite a nice set. The build is decent, and the golden Wonder Woman armor looks really incredible. Next, we have 2024. This one gave us the animated series Gotham City set, and although I'm not usually a fan of art sets, I really love this one. The build and design looked incredible. It captured the animated series so well. And it's just such a cool display piece. And it was also a really great price. And the minifigures were amazing. And it was so cool to finally get some animated series representation. Speaking of which, we got the animated series Batmobile, which is probably my second favorite just behind the Tumbler. And once again, it was so cool to get animated series minifigures. Then we also got a Batmech and then another 4+ set. And the final main set was a new buildable Batman, but this one came with the Batpod, which I thought made it a little bit more interesting than the Keaton one. Then finally, we did actually get a Batman vs. Joker gift set, which contained all the 89 sets, which I can't really count it as its own set, but it's still kind of interesting. This year is definitely carried by the animated series sets, as it's my favorite adaptation of Batman, and it was so great to get some of those characters in Lego form, and hopefully we get some more one day. Up next, we have 2025, which gave us another playset Tumbler, which was definitely a downgrade when compared with the previous one, but it was still a decent set. We did get some great minifigures in it, like a brand new Heath Ledger Joker, and then our first Dark Knight Two-Face, who had a brand new hair mold. And after 5 years, we finally see the return of Superman with the new Superman mech. And although not the greatest of sets, it was so great to see him again. And then we also got Arkham Asylum, which pretty much really carries this year. And after so many years of just getting big bat vehicles, it was so great to get our first ever DC modular. And I thought this build looks really good. And it had a solid selection of minifigures. Overall, not the most packed year, but Arkham really carries it. And it was great to see Superman again. But now onto the more classic years with lots of great sets and minifigures popping up. So next up we actually have 2014, our third year for the theme. And this one did actually give us lots of great sets. We got our first ever big Tumbler, which is a really great design and build. We also got the Batman the Riddler chase, which gave us our first ever Flash minifigure, who was so great to see. I was so excited. Then we got the Batman Penguin face-off, which was a really great cheaper set. Gave us a great Penguin minifigure, and I love the Scuba Batman. We also got the Man-Bat attack, which gave us our first ever Man-Bat and our first Nightwing for the DC Superheroes theme. And then finally, we got the Batman the Joker Steamroller, which was a really fun set. We got a new Batwing, and the Steamroller is one of my favorite DC villain vehicles. And the set also gave us our first ever Damian Wayne Robin and our first Batgirl, who looked amazing. So this was a really great year. We got tons of nice sets with so many new characters like Man-Bat and Batgirl, and it's really fun to look back on. Coming up next, we have 2013, and this year gave us the unthinkable. We got an entire Superman wave. It was based on Man of Steel and gave us some really nice sets, especially the Metropolis battle, and I loved all the Kryptonian minifigures. Then we also got our first Dark Knight Rises set with the Bat vs. Bane Tumbler. The Bat was a really great build, and I was so excited to get a Christian Bale Batman, as he was my childhood Batman growing up. And we also got our first and only Tom Hardy Bane. And I think this was actually our first Commissioner Gordon as well. And we also got Arctic Batman versus Mr. Freeze, giving us a nice Batboat build and our first ever Aquaman. Although they did my boy dirty by having Mr. Freeze be able to do this to him, and I love the Arctic Batsuit. It's one of the coolest variants. Finally, we probably got my favorite DC superhero set of all time, the Arkham Asylum Breakout. I absolutely love this set. The build is so cool and gothic, and we got some really great minifigures like our first Penguin and Scarecrow for the theme, as well as the first Harley and Quinzel. So another fantastic year, and as I love the Arkham set, I really wanted to put it higher, but the other ones just don't carry it that much. Alright, we now have 2016, which gave us 3 sets based on Batman vs. Superman. And even though once again I wasn't a massive fan of that film, the sets were really good. I really like the Batmobile build, and the Armored Batman was such a cool minifigure. This year also gave us some loose Suicide Squad tie-in sets with the amazing Gotham City Cycle Chase, which gave us our first and only Deadshot, who's one of my favorite DC villain minifigures. He looks so good. And we also got the Batman Killer Croc Sewer Smash, which gave us a Bat Tank and then a weird Killer Croc vehicle. But this set was one of the best ever for minifigures. We got our first and only Katana, we got Captain Boomerang, our first Big Fig Killer Croc, and our only Red Hood, who's such an amazing character to get in Lego. And it's a shame we haven't seen him since. We also got the Ra's al Ghul Rescue, giving us our first and only Talia and Ra's. And as he's one of Batman's most iconic villains, it's a real shame we also haven't seen him pop up in other sets. And then finally, we got a massive Adam West Batcave with over 2,500 pieces. It's a really impressive build. We get a massive section of the cave and a small part of Wayne Manor, and then a bunch of different vehicles like the Batmobile, the Bat Helicopter, as well as the Bat Bike. Pretty much all the main characters from the series, like Batman, Robin, Alfred, and of course, all the different villains. Actually, we did have one other set. We had Batman's Scarecrow Harvest of Fear, which was a great name. And also a great set. I love the Combine Harvester build, and this set gave us our first ever Killer Moth, who's such a fantastic minifigure, and our only Blue Beetle, who also looks amazing. Alright, our next year is quite a sad one. We have 2018, and this was the last time we got Lego Justice League sets. But even though it's sad looking back on, it was a really incredible year. Starting off with one of these smaller sets, we had the Superman and Crypto team up. We got our first ever Crypto, who I'm sure is super popular right now. And we also got Lobo, who's an amazing minifigure. And then we also got one of my favorite DC villains of all time with Reverse Flash in the Speed Force Pursuit. This set also gave us Killer Frost. Not the best builds, but the minifigures were so good. This is one of my favorite sets, but I am biased because I love Reverse Flash. We also got a classic Lex Luthor mech, which is my personal favorite Lex Luthor mech. And this set had so many great minifigures. We got our first and only Firestorm and a really cool cheetah. We also got the Aquaman movie set, which was another really cool set. The Black Manta sub looked great, and we also got 3 amazing minifigures. This year also gave us our first ever Batwoman, and we also got Brother Eye, who's such a random character to get, but it's one we'll definitely never see again. And not only did we get Crypto, we also got Ace the Bat Hound and also the Court of Owls and the Thrasher suit. The final main set is the app controlled Batmobile, which was incredibly expensive, but I did still get it just to get the Arkham Knight Batman. And looking back, I'd say it was definitely worth it. We also got a great Jessica Cruz polybag and then the Nightmare Batman accessory set. So this year gave us so many amazing characters and minifigures. I was so happy to get Reverse Flash, and there's also some really great builds in here. So such an amazing year to look back on, and hopefully one day the Justice League will return in LEGO form. Okay, we are now in the top 3. It is really hard to rank as I love all of these years. Coming in third place, we have 2012. Now, originally this was first on my list, but I was definitely slightly bounded by nostalgia, but this is still one of my all-time favorite LEGO waves. As a kid, I wanted the LEGO Batman set so badly, but unfortunately they'd all retired before I got into it. So I was so happy when they announced DC Superheroes so I could finally get my dream Batman sets. We got a great £10 Catwoman set, as well as the classic Superman mech set, which was the first time getting Superman, Wonder Woman, and Lex in Lego form. We also got the Two-Face Chase, which is such an amazing set. You get 3 great builds, and the minifigures were so good. We also got the Batwing set with the Joker helicopter. The year also gave us the Dynamic Duo Funhouse set, which is such a great build. This gave us our first Harley Quinn and Riddler for the superheroes theme, and then finally we had the Batcave, and I was so excited to finally own my first ever Lego Batcave. It was my dream set as a kid, and even though this one isn't as good as the original one, I still love it. As you can probably tell, I absolutely love this year, and it's so nostalgic for me. We got so many amazing builds and the return of so many Batman characters, as well as the first time getting Superman and Wonder Woman in Lego form. So it was such an incredible year. Then perhaps quite an interesting choice for second place, we have 2019. We got a really cool Batmobile with the Joker, which is kind of all we get nowadays, but the build was really cool. It was like a modernized version of the original 2006 one. We also got a really great Batwing set with the Riddler, which gave us an amazing Shazam minifigure as well as Commissioner Gordon, who might just be the best one ever made. Then we got the Mr. Freeze Batcycle Battle, probably my favorite Batcycle set. I love how it can split in two, and the Mr. Freeze is amazing. We also got a Bat subset, which gave us a really cool Aquaman as well as Orm for the first and only time. And even though we get a lot of these now, our next set is the Batmech versus Poison Ivy mech. But this was a really great set. The Batmech looks amazing. It's such a cool design, although I remember it being quite fragile. The set also gave us the best Flash minifigure ever with the yellow boots. And finally, we got the first and only Firefly, who was such an incredible minifigure. And then finally, in terms of playsets, we got the Batman Clayface Invasion, which I think is the second best Batcave. It's kind of like a combination of the 2006 and 2012 one. I love the bigger bat screens. It had the bench press and the cool transformation chamber, and it also had a small Penny and T-Rex, which is a great reference. Then we also got a brick-built Clayface. Unfortunately, we yet to get him as a minifigure, but hopefully one day. And the set also gave us the best Catwoman, a great Two-Face, as well as Batwoman. And then finally, we probably got the best ever big Batmobile. We got the 89 one, which is just such an amazing build. This is one of, if not the coolest DC display pieces. And I also love the new Batman and Joker in this set. So a really great and underrated year, in my opinion. We got a nice range of Batman sets, and then a few other DC characters like Aquaman, The Flash, as well as Shazam. Which of course leaves 1 year left. We have 2015, our first Justice League year. And it was just so cool and fantastic to finally get the Justice League in Lego form. As much as I love getting Batman sets and all his villains, this was a great change of pace. And looking back, I so wish we got more years like this, as I think it's going to be a long time till we see the Justice League again in Lego. So starting off with a smaller set, we got the Batboat Harbor Pursuit, which is my favorite Batboat, and it also gave us our first and only Deathstroke. We also got the Brainiac Attack set, which gave us a great Brainiac ship build, Brainiac himself of course, our first Supergirl, and the GOAT Martian Manhunter. We also got the Black Manta Deep Sea Strike, and this Manta minifigure is one of my personal favorite DC ones. I love the helmet mold. And we also have one of the best name sets of all time with Gorilla Grodd Goes Bananas. The set contained our first ever Batmech and our only invisible jet, and then we did also get a banana truck for Grodd to steal from. Speaking of which, Gorilla Grodd is one of the few DC big figs we've ever gotten. He was a brand new mold and looks so good. And we also got Captain Cold, who's an amazing minifigure. And the small set of the year was Green Lantern versus Sinestro, which is the only time that Green Lantern's actually popped up in his set. The rest of them have been in polybags in the collectible minifigure series, which is really sad. And the minifigures are so good with Space Batman, Sinestro, and Hal Jordan. Then our biggest set from the Justice League wave was the Darkseid Invasion, giving us our first and only Javelin, which is such a good build. And then the set was packed full of amazing minifigures like our first Cyborg, Green Arrow, as well as our only Hawkman, and of course the legendary Big Fig Darkseid, one of my all-time favorite big figs. And then lastly for the year, we got the Jokerland set, which was a really fun build. As you can see, we get a bunch of different villain-themed roller coaster rides. And then the set contained 8 great minifigures, including 2 of the Teen Titans with Beast Boy and Starfire, who were such great figs to get. And that is it for 2015, an incredible year for DC fans. We got so many amazing DC characters, heroes, and villains, some of which we haven't actually seen since, and then a bunch of great builds as well, which is why I think it is the best year, as it perfectly summarizes what a DC theme should be and be focused on DC. But most importantly, let me know everybody, which is your favorite DC year? And if you have the time, be sure to put your entire ranking of all these waves. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps a lot. Hope you all have an amazing week. I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.